All right, let's start. So, what year were you born in Taiwan?
In 1945.
1945.
Mm.
What's one of the early memories that you have of your childhood in Taiwan that you can recall?
Okay, the earlier one would be I was adopted from one family to another family.
Oh, wow. You adopted to a different place far away in Taiwan, or was it pretty close?
Not very far, but not close either. It was
Yeah.
when I was a baby, so I didn't have much memory from my natural family.
Hmm.
But of course, later on, I heard the stories from my sisters and brothers and so
Yeah.
on. Mhm.
So you were in touch with your biological siblings?
Only after I was yeah, I should say yes, because um, every year on the
Mhm.
second of the Lunar New Year, on January 1st, sorry, January 2nd,
Mhm.
the biological family would send my sister to pick me up because it's supposed that we go back to see our natural parents on the family over there. So kind of once a year when I was small.
Yeah.
Later, after I attended high schools, something like that. But later, I have had more connections with the family, especially the siblings.
Did you have siblings with the family you were adopted into, or were you an only child there?
At first, it was the only child. I'll talk about this adoption first.
Mhm.
During that period of time, Taiwan, I should say, a patriarchal society.
Okay. Yeah.
It's in years of 1950s and 1960s.
Hmm.
And families value boys much more than girls.
Yeah.
So if a family has too many girls, they would like to give them away to some family that didn't have kids.
Hmm.
So although I was born in a very well-off family, I would say um, the house over there was like a mansion
Wow.
among many other small and rough houses in central part of Taiwan.
Mhm.
But however, my family over there had three boys and five girls. They didn't want to keep too many girls. As I say, they value boys much more than girls.
Interesting.
So they decided to give away the two smallest girls. One was me, and then also my sister, my younger sister. So that happened. And then I was given to a very poor family. Uh, it was not their intention. Just they never, really kind of find out what family would be adopting me, would adopt me. So yeah, then I grew up in a very poor family.
Mhm.
But fortunately, I'll say my adopting parents, they loved me a lot. They
Yeah.
have a lot of love. They
Mhm.
were poor, like my parents were laborers and they were illiterate. They never attended school.
Wow.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but you know, they loved me. And of course, because of the poor family, I had to do a lot of house chores and help to do many things since my parents were real busy, working to earn a living.
Hmm.
And then, because I did very well in schools, so my elementary school teachers have been persuading my parents to let me continue the education. For the photo that I sent you,
Yeah.
uh, a third grade teacher And she was the one making a lot of efforts. And also she taught me after school. She taught me dance after school for free.
Wow.
Yeah, for free. So then she arranged to make me participate in some dance competition, and I won awards for our village, small village elementary school. So, and she and later on, other elementary school teachers persuaded my parents to let me continue the education. So I was, in fact, the only girl attending a junior high school after elementary school.
Okay.
Because it was a poor area. And all the other girls, after they graduated from elementary school, most girls went to the candy factory to cut candies and then wrap up candies and counted, by numbers and then earn a couple of times.
Wow.
Of course, Taiwan money.
Yeah.
So I continued to attend junior high, and either in elementary school or high school, junior high and senior high, we had to wear school uniform, and we have to cut our hair short, no longer than passing our years.
Wow, that's pretty short.
So, and later, my parents adopted one boy and one girl. It was because my neighbor seeing me, attending a junior high, and my parents were so nice to me, although we were so poor, parents working so hard. And this family was my neighbor, and they had one girl and 3 boys. So, but this youngest boy was only a baby, was told by the fortune teller, saying this baby should be the oldest son in the family. Otherwise, the 2 older brothers would die. So that's why, this neighbor, they gave this boy to my parents.
Oh,
because they worry. The fortune teller said that otherwise his 2 older brothers would die because, this smallest baby was destined to be the oldest son in the family. Okay. So that's why. So my parents adopted this boy, becomes my younger brother, of course, and I loved him. It was so cute. And so usually I carry him on my back. Later on, another family, also a neighbor, they had 2 girls. They just wanted to keep one. So they decided to give this also away to my parents. And my parents were thinking, oh, okay, if we adopt this one, and then later on, this girl grew up, we'll make her to be the wife of my brother. So they think, the girl growing in the family and later becomes the daughter-in-law could treat parents better. So in my family, and my parents adopted 3 children.
They sound so loving.
I know they
sound like incredible people.
Oh, they're wonderful. Yes. Although we were very poor.
What?
Although we were very poor, I said they were very poor, but they, they tried to do it.
Yeah, clearly.
Okay.
What did they do for a living? What did your parents do during the day? Your adoptive parents?
Okay. I would say my father, who is in fact a very skilled technician making plowing machines, plowing tools for farmers.
Farmers. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And sometimes he worked at home, and sometimes he, with his co-workers, traveled from village to village, like nomad, making the farmers plowing tools
Yeah.
over there, and
Mm-hmm.
then sold them to the farmers, and then they moved to another village to do the same thing. That's what my father did.
Mm-hmm.
My mother also needed to try to do work so as to earn the living.
Living, yeah.
Yeah, usually she, make rice doughs with a stone grinder. So that's I sent you a photo of that.
Oh,
A stone
mm-hmm.
grinder. And then to operate the stone grinder better, we had two people. So my mother is trying to move the stone grinder, and I was very small at that time, still in the elementary school.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
very
could,
young.
so I stood on a stool and trying to scoop rice and water mixture and drop them into the hole of the the stone grinder.
Oh, wow. So
You know,
you learned how to cook early on.
it was a hard work, but
Yeah, I bet.
that's what I had to do. And then, we did that in the night, and
Mm-hmm.
then through the whole night we tried to dry those rice dough, and then early in the morning my mother, I should say my mother and I went with her, carry those to a market to sell to people who will make some cakes, with those
Okay, so
dough.
you make cakes out of the rice dough?
Right.
Okay.
So that's the way we were making a living. But when my father was working at home for those plowing tools, my
Mhm.
mother helped. It was hard work. I was,
Yeah, I can't imagine.
beautiful. Yeah. And yes. And, sometimes neighbors, of course, they didn't really complain, but they would talk about it. They say, oh, the parents are working so hard.
Mhm.
All the other girls in the village, they at least, after elementary school, they tried to earn some money, like wrapping candies. Okay.
Yeah.
And earn a couple of dimes and bring it home, but I was not. But however, I helped with chores, and I was the one at that time. We didn't have, I say no family had
Mhm.
the tapping water at home, and
They
every
just
family,
collect it.
yeah, the running water, the tapping water
Mhm.
at home. So every family had to carry water from a well to home to use. So that was also my job. So that's why I send you a doll.
Uh-huh.
A doll carrying water. But I was in the elementary school that
Mhm.
it was my responsibility or my job to carry water,
Got it.
well to
Mhm.
home to use as to um like washing dishes, washing food, and washing clothes. We carry those stuff to the river, wash there. So you can save some water at home. So that's why I also send you those pictures of with the people and also their kids, washing clothes
Uh-huh.
at the river. So that's also my job. But of course, I wash socks and handkerchiefs. My mother wash clothes.
So
Yes.
the river was close to your house. What was the neighborhood like that you grew up in? I know you said it was poor, but was it in more of a rural area or were you in a city?
Oh, rural area,
Rural next to a
village.
river.
Yes, right, right.
Do you know the name of the river?
Uh, in fact, yes, I did. It was not many years ago. I know it was, in fact, we call
Plum River.
Plum River. But I had so much memories about the rivers where I carry water from, and also a river close to my elementary school. I wrote stories about those. In fact, three rivers. The one close to my elementary school. What happened, about this river? I wrote about it.
Yeah.
Also wrote about this river where we carry our water and washing, clothes, and another river. Yes,
Mhm.
yes, close to my auntie's home. That's another story. So, so that's the one. But I would like to talk about cooking. Of course, we didn't have
Yeah.
a gas stove,
Hmm.
such things. And we use um, you know, stove. I say what kind of stove? Not the gas stove, but
Was it an open fire or with
yeah, open
coals?
one. Yeah, open fire.
Okay.
Charcoal stove.
With charcoal stove. Okay. Yeah.
And sometimes we burn, you know, like something. Yeah, it's an open stove. So
Hmm.
I also send you a doll with that.
Yeah. What type of meals did you cook or did your mom mostly cook or was it a whole
Uh,
family effort?
okay. Usually in the morning, I cooked
You
in the
cooked for
morning.
your family?
Right, yes, but it's we had very easy meal. Uh, we I just cook the rice in water with the stove.
Hmm.
Then cook becomes porridge. And before I go to school, when I have the whole day school, I scoop some rice out of those porridge and put it in my lunchbox.
Hmm.
And I didn't have, I mean, uh, I only have the rice. So I bring this lunchbox to, on my way to school. I'm talking about now, my junior high.
Okay.
On my way to school, I passed by a small market and
Hmm.
they sell some pickles. So my mother would give me 2 times or 5 times, yeah, and then for me to get some pickles.
That sounds
And
good.
I, yeah, after I bought pickles, I get into the market, and then when nobody's watching, I kind of secretly put the pickles inside of my lunchbox. So that's my lunch. So yes, every day is the rice picked out of the porridge and then prepare pickles,
And
about
then pickles.
pickles. And then and I went to high schools, junior high and a senior high, and then I ate. That's my lunch.
So what was a normal day like when you were walking? So when you walked to junior high, you'd pack your lunch, you'd go to the marketplace, and then how long was a school day?
Oh, okay. In fact, when I was in the elementary school,
Hmm.
school is kind of far, and we have to walk on foot. I would say most children or students, they were barefoot. And at first I was barefoot. And
Hmm.
then later on, I was the class leader. So when we have the students' picture taken and the teacher will make the class leader stand in front. So
Yeah.
they, sometimes they visit my family and mention about it. My mother was very nice. So she bought me a pair of shoes. So I was kind of, if not raining days, I can wear shoes to school.
Oh,
But
that's really
rainy days,
nice.
yeah, right. I was one of the very few students who wear shoes. And when I was carried water
Yeah.
from the well
Hmm.
to home. At first, I was barefoot too, because everybody,
And really rough on your feet.
right. But after I attended junior high,
Yeah.
I was thinking, oh, being barefoot and carrying water and something like that doesn't look good. So I decided to wear shoes, and my mother didn't complain. But however, after the junior high,
Yeah.
talking about junior high, we had to take a very hard entrance exam.
Into junior high.
Yes,
So was the order elementary school, middle, junior high, and then high school, or is middle school interchangeable with junior
I
high?
would say that's middle school between elementary and high
Yeah.
school. That's in Taiwan, it was 3 years. We call it junior high, but
Junior high. Okay, yeah.
yeah, it was between elementary and high school, 3 years.
Mhm.
But we had to take an entrance exam. At that time, when one finishes, one finished elementary school, the education is done. So that's why. So yeah, of
Oh,
course,
so is it competitive to get into junior high?
exactly, especially for the one I attended. Yeah,
Really? It was more prestigious.
right. We had to take a 3 subjects test. Okay, it was arithmetics and Chinese language, and the other is something like a social study,
Hmm.
like that. And for the Chinese language test, we have to write something and also a composition, which we are required to write the composition by using a brush pen.
Hmm.
So we carry the brush pen over there to take the exam. Yes.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was lucky. I passed it. And for, of course, after junior high, going to high school, we
Mhm.
also have to take again
There's
very
another
hard.
entrance
Yes,
exam.
right. And the
Oh.
one I attended was the best in central Taiwan,
Mhm.
except the one in Taipei and the other in South Taiwan, but it's the best, say,
Mhm.
yeah, in the north, in the middle, I mean, the center of Taiwan and the south. It
Mhm.
was also very competitive. But I was fortunate. They chose, the school chose several students who will be from the junior high,
Mhm.
who would be automatically admitted to the senior high.
Oh, without taking the
I was
entrance
one of,
exam.
right, I was one of them. They have this policy. I am thinking because at that time they don't want to keep, good or the best students still in their school. So when
Yeah.
later on, when they were taking entrance exam to colleges, they can
Mhm.
show, they have, better grade and a better,
Yeah, the schools wanted to keep them.
or right. So I was one of them, which was like let's see, 20 something students only out of the whole junior high to be selected without taking the exam, but they just be promoted to the senior high.
That's a really small number. That's incredible.
Right.
What were your peers like or your friends through junior high and high school?
You see my peers, well, they were wonderful. I was growing up in that small village.
Mhm.
I knew very little about many things. Okay. But then attending junior high, it's like in a city. So my mother bought me a bike to ride over there.
Okay.
Yes. So in fact, they were, more wealthy family, attending that junior high and high school. So I had very good chance to learn from them,
Mhm.
from my classmates and their manners and their way of talking. I was the one who liked their manners and their attitude. So I learned. I think I appreciate that very much. And in my memory, everybody was so nice. I mean, my classmates, especially those later chosen to be promoted to the high school, this class, they put all those 20-something students in the same class. And everybody, they had a great grade. So they
sounds like it.
in fact, not about 20-something students be promoted to high school. And also from the entrance exam, they picked the top 10 students to be also in that same class. So I was very fortunate. I think I learned a lot from those, classmates. Even today, we have been very good friends. And some of them, we attended the same college. And every year I went back, we gathered together. Very nice.
So rare. That's amazing.
I was very fortunate. They have been so nice to me because I was at that time, I was thinking, my family was so poor. And some of them, they have, much richer families. But they later found out I was poor. They have been so nice to me. I was so touched.
Yeah, that's really sweet. Did you have did you have a group of your closest friends, or did you do anything after school or any activities other than, I know you mentioned dance classes. Did you do that with your peers?
Those dance classes, in fact, I only learned dance from my third and fourth grade teacher. Okay. The one that younger I showed to you, she was my, third and fourth grade teacher. Yeah, she taught me. And later, I didn't get a chance really to learn dance because, we couldn't afford it. But that teacher taught me for free. But after I went to the junior high, sometimes school would like to have some performances. So I, in the music class, I got the chance to sing. They kind of like it. And so I got the chance to, perform a little bit. They loved it. So later on, even in junior high, I was able to choreograph some dances, also for myself and for my classmates, for my classmates that we perform together. Sometimes we give this performance to armies. They send us to armies to perform for.
Really?
Right. So yes, that's the only time I learned about dance, but I could handle that well. Yeah, I could help my classmates, with some dance. And, okay.
Did you ever go to your classmates' houses in the wealthier neighborhoods or spend any time there?
You are right. That's, because classmates, they usually like to invite, friends to their home.
Yeah, totally.
Yes, because I was so poor. I said, if I went to their home, and I should, also invite them to my home. So I tried to avoid this gathering. At first, I didn't want to go, but for a couple of very close classmates or friends, I said, okay. So I went to two only. One is the one who lived not too far from my home. And when we went home from school, we were in the same class of junior high and senior high. And we rode the bike together. And there was, during the one winter day, and she wore gloves when riding the bikes. I didn't. And she touched my hands. She said, Agnes, of course, using my Chinese name. She said, the weather is so cold. Why you don't wear gloves? I didn't say anything. I just looked at her. But then in a few days, she bought me a pair of gloves and gave it to me.
So sweet.
I was so touched. I had the tears in my eyes.
Oh, are you still in touch with her at all?
Oh, very much. And then I wrote about her stories, giving me this pair of gloves. And we attended the same college. Mm-hmm. So we were together, living in a rental home for the first year of college. Oh. And we were together. And we had 6 girls from the high school, our high school, same class, living, together for the first year. But second year of college, we moved to the dorm. So not being together, but that's the group I talked about, whenever I went back to Taiwan, we always got together. And I wrote about them, how nice they are. That's one family. And another classmates whose home I went to, her father is having a political position. Mm-hmm. And, kind of really very special. And she was inviting, a couple of friends to her home, of course. Mm-hmm. Her home is so pretty, so pretty. Yeah. Right. So I was thinking, now, how could I, return those favors, going to their home, like their mother usually brought out snacks. Mm-hmm. For us to eat, but my home, that's a 3-room home, very small one. Mm-hmm. One room is for my parents. One bedroom for my parents, another bedroom for my brother, sister, and me, and the other one room is for every function, mm-hmm. like a living room, and for me to write, doing the homework.
And the kitchen too.
Yeah, right. For parents, for my parents, especially my father, to listen to the radio for some stories and so on. Mm-hmm. So talking about, we had, in fact, only 3 rooms. And we, in fact, didn't really have a real kitchen. We just, within 2 walls, my house wall and the neighbor's house wall, we just put a rough roof. There's a kind of a small alley in between, very small, narrow one. Mm-hmm. And we put a roof to cover that part and separate that part as 2 portions. One is the kitchen and the bathroom for the neighbor, and the other is ours. So I was thinking, I would feel ashamed if my classmates can, seeing my parents working so hard. At that time, my parents were working at home and then talking about their work of making those plowing tools, mm-hmm. fire, like a big whatever. Yeah, it's real rough and hard. So, and then one day, unexpectedly, a couple of classmates came to my home.
Uninvited.
So I was so ashamed. We didn't have like a couch or sofa. No, not at all. All we had was a table that serves all functions. As I say, it's for eating and for meeting visitors and everything, for everything. Yeah. So, and then some wooden stools. So they were sitting on the stools, but they showed so comfortable. They just want me to understand. They don't mind at all.
Mm-hmm. So they were very understanding and
very much. And when they needed to go to the restroom, in fact, we didn't have a restroom. We just had a public restroom. Mm-hmm. public restroom. So
shared with your street or your
with
neighborhood?
people in our village.
Okay.
A couple of public bathrooms. I mean, in a restroom, on bathroom. So I took them to the public restroom and then coming home and wash with the water I scooped out of my well, out of the big water container.
Yeah.
And then let them wash their hands. They were so graceful, so nice. So after that, and then I went to school. I became too quiet or something. And then those classmates, I still remember.
Wow. That is really, thank you so much for sharing all that. That is, yeah, that's an incredible story.
Right. And they gave me a small puppy. I mean, like a stuffed animal, very small. And I put it in glass and gave it to me, saying, "Oh, Agnes, oh, we all love you." They try to comfort me. They say, "Oh, this dog will be with you." It's a tiny stuffed dog. Yes. So I put it on my desk. Look at that. So very nice of them.
That's really impactful. Do you still have the dog?
No, it's back in Taiwan. After I moved to America, I didn't carry it with me. Yes, right. But I wrote about it. I wrote about it and wrote about the gift of the gloves. Yes, and even in my writings, I showed their pictures. Yeah.
Oh. So when you were at that point in your life, say middle school, high school, did you want more than what your family had, or did you have dreams, or did you think that you'd go through education and then stay in the village, or what were your goals for the future when you were young?
Even, starting from a small girl, at first I was looking at my parents working on those plowing tools, making those plowing tools. I was not interested in that at all. That's so hard. And then later on, my mother was making those rice dough to sell to uncle. I called him uncle, but not a real uncle. Anyway, and he was making some cakes to sell. I was thinking, oh, those cakes were made into, like interesting figures, like a moon or whatever. It's interesting. So I was thinking, oh, maybe this is more interesting than working as a laborer.
And you had already been making the dough since you were in elementary school.
Right.
You had a head start.
Yeah. Right. Later on, after this third grade teacher, this lady who taught me, dance and was so graceful, so nice. And then I decided from then on, when I was third grade, I decided to be a teacher.
Oh, wow.
so
That's incredible. She made that much of an impact on you.
Right.
Wow.
In fact, later on, after I moved to California, her son took her to Arizona, and we still contacted each other. And she loved me so much, and she, later on would like to spend a lot of time living at my home in Arcadia. So her son would take her to my home from Arizona to LA and living with me sometimes, and then going back and living with me. But she passed away several years ago. Yes, I had a lot of her pictures living at my home, and I took her around, to do sightseeing and all such things. Yes, I was so grateful to her.
So did you end up becoming a teacher. So when you were in third grade, you thought, okay, this is what I want to do. And then
Yes,
you ended up becoming a teacher?
right, definitely. So after my graduation from high school, I
Mhm.
attended a college entrance exam, and my first choice was the college that taught or trained only teachers, only teachers. We call it a normal university. That's the name.
Mhm.
Still in Taiwan. At that time, it was one of the best. And all the students graduated from that school, they arranged them to get a teaching job.
Mhm.
So we don't have to worry. I have to look for a job for myself after
Employment.
graduation.
Yeah.
But my high school, the principal, before I graduated from that college, she already went to the college to look for the graduating students she would like to invite to go back to our high school to teach. So I didn't have the problem to think which school I should go to. Of course, the college arranged for the students about where to go to only when the students did not find a school of his or her own. But my school principal already chose me, so I went back there to at first teach in high school, later on, yes, in college.
Wow.
So all I can do, I should say, is just to teach. I couldn't do anything else. Of course, I played the music and taught music and dance, and then brought my students to perform. And
Oh, you
sometimes,
ended up teaching dance to your students?
yeah, yes. If you go on YouTube searching for my name, English
Yeah.
name, Chinese name, and then which is Agnes Chin, music and dance. You can see my performance, and sometimes also my students' performance back in Taiwan on TV, sometimes on TV, but at that time,
Really?
right, on TV. And
I'd love to see that.
here, yeah, right, yeah, search for that. But at that time, especially in 1970s and early 80s, before I moved to America, I had quite a few TV performances. And at that time, I didn't ask for a recording or a copy from the TV station. But
Mhm.
when I performed there, my family, they bought a very old machine called Beta at that time, Beta machine to record from the screen of the TV. So they picked it up, when they had a chance. So not all my performances on TV were kind of heavy, having the
Mhm.
copy. Some of them, yes. Some of them, yes. In fact, this morning, I just sent your professor Wealth one,
Mhm.
which I performed on a TV. And that was the performance of the Zhonghai University, also in central Taiwan, in the city I lived in.
Mhm.
University, yeah, performed by the professors of Zhonghai University. And I was the one playing the Chinese zither. So I had that videotaping, and I sent it to Professor Wealth, because I
Yeah.
mentioned about, yes. So yeah, some other TV performances, and I give, yeah, if you want to know more, in fact, when I was in Taiwan,
Mhm.
it was when Carter was the president, his brother, Jimmy Carter, and
Yes. Too young for him, but yes.
right. And also he brought, and also the city of Plains, because that's Carter's hometown.
Mhm.
Hometown, yes. And the mayor of Plains brought some House representative from America, and also together with Carter's brother, they visited Taiwan. And usually they arrange me and my students to give performance to them.
Wow, at your school.
Not at school, but the community, the school, the government organization arrange it. Yeah, this is there we call honorable or extinguished guests from US. So the school didn't arrange that, but the government did. So I had quite a few photos of them, showing in my concert. The concert was only for them, only for those visitors from US. I think I had at that time, I also had the language advantage, so I can kind of social and talking to them. So that's and later I received a letter from the mayor to thank me, and I had pictures with them, and also Carter's brother gave me a gold peanut, peanut.
Wow.
Plains, they grow peanuts, right? So I still have that peanut here.
Wow.
Yeah, they just want,
Yeah, that's incredible.
I have that peanut. Yeah, I also have a picture of that peanut. I'm still keeping it. Yes, I had the pictures taken with them. And also my students, of course, I brought my students to give the whole concert for them.
Yeah. So let me see, what types of, when you think back to your childhood in Taiwan, what types of feelings does it bring up, or emotions or words for you? What do you think about it when you look back on it?
Okay, I was thinking at first, I was so fortunate to be adopted by such, loving parents.
Yeah.
We all work together, to make a better living. And after I attended college, besides studying, I did tutoring. So I taught, high school students, and then I earned some money, and I always send the money home. So my family, I think, improved. And besides, that college, the college I was attending, as I say, especially training me teachers, they give free room and board and no tuition.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the only one at that time. But I know during this, at the present time, they no longer do it. But
No,
at the time,
definitely not.
right. So we had a free room and board, and also food. And of course, only the first year they say they didn't have enough dorms, so they asked us to rent, outside of the school. Then from the second year, we live in the school dorm, and then all the 4 years we ate at the school kitchen for free, and also no tuition, and they had tailors to make 2 sets of uniforms each year for us. One set of uniform is for winter and the other is for summer. And we had to wear uniforms only for a small ceremony, formal ceremony. But that we didn't even really have to spend any money. And they also give us each student $20 of money at that time a month.
So you were able to send a little bit of money home too.
Oh yeah, especially from teaching. Yeah, being tutors. Yes, I try to save. So my family improved. So later on, of course, my sister and brother, they also grew up, but they got some job. And so right now, my brother and sister's family, they didn't get married together, although that was my parents' plan.
Oh no.
But because My parents, they were very open. Okay, they didn't force you to do something. They grew up together. That was my parents' plan. I mean, but later on, they all found their sweetheart. so, so they were two families. They were loving.
Yeah, meant to be in a different way.
Right. So they had, I tried to help even after I moved to America, and I sent money home to my mother every year. And also when I went back to visit, and then also, when my brother and sister, when they bought houses, I helped. When they bought cars, I helped. So pretty well. They are living very comfortably.
Wow. Just as generous as your parents, I can tell.
So that's a big change. So I'm very happy. I'm thinking, although I was a small village girl, but I grew up to be an instructor in high school and also college back in Taiwan and here in US. I was so fortunate. And we all made effort to achieve this goal. So that's one thing.
Yeah, that's really inspiring. And then I have one more thing to ask you, and that is if you could tell your 10-year-old self one thing, what would it be?
You say my 10-year?
10-year-old self.
Oh.
So, or by the time you were in middle school.
When I was talking about my 10-year-old back in Taiwan. Okay, 10-year-old, I was still in the elementary school. So the life is the way I described to you, studying and then, doing house chores.
Yeah.
Yes. And then trying to get a grade. I was a good girl, I think.
Yeah.
So then maybe I can tell you about, my biological parents. Every year they send, my sister to take me home. So there was kind of one day, which is usually on the lunar calendar, the 2nd of January 2nd. And then she came at that time, because the families were celebrating Lunar New Year. So my parents were not working at that time, and parents invited, some friends to play cards at home. As I said, it was such a small house, only one room that does, for all functions, plus 2 bedrooms. That's it. So usually, when we have visitors, or when my father was listening to the radio, it's hard for me to do the classwork, homework.
Oh, I bet.
So I brought my book to go to outside of the public restroom because they have the light over there. And I was reading in the light, just outside of that restroom, public restroom. And my sister came, wanted to bring me back to my family and biological family. And she was looking at me. She felt so sad. She cried. She said, "Oh, my poor sister, why you are studying here?" I was
at the bathroom.
Yes, she was crying. And at that time, I was thinking, oh, but that's fine. At first, I cried with her. I said, "Oh, I'm fortunate. I didn't live with this sister. Otherwise, I would be crying every day." But anyway, that's, how I try to solve my problems and adjust my life. But I do love my parents. They were so nice. Couldn't complain. I cannot complain. Yes, I was happy to, to go outside and find some place to read. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
You sound very lucky.
Yes, I am. I have been. Yes,
Yeah.
very much. Yes.
I think that is all.
Okay.
Um, I've learned so much in the past hour about everything. I never would have heard any of this otherwise. Thank you so, so much
Oh, yeah,
for
it's my
sharing
pleasure.
everything.
I'm glad you can help. I mean, I can help.
Yeah, you're so knowledgeable and well spoken. I love listening to you. That was great.
Oh, thank you so much. Very nice of you to say. You to say. You to say. You to say. You to say.